It's good.
Hello. Okay. I don't know if I'm not sure what Britt has. Britt, do you want to just do they know me?
They know you. You know
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, Britt is my sister and best friend, and I've been coaching for 5.5 years, which I absolutely love. Like something I definitely, just even thinking about coming to Philly and being here is that my first event was Summit, but in a Super Saturday. But the first goal that I had was Diamond because I wanted to get to a Diamond retreat. It wasn't so much the goal of Diamond. It was just I want to be with the people that were building businesses that I wanted. And I just feel like there's a type of mindset, right? And so it just kind of takes me back seeing all of you together. I think that this is so real. And then being where I am right now, it was because I went to Alpena, Michigan for a Diamond retreat. And now being here in Philly and we're at the top of this skyscraper thing. We went to Alpena, Michigan, which if you've even heard of it, it's like the smallest town ever. It's just really cool to see how that's grown. And I think the biggest thing is that quitting was never an option for me. I never even made that a thought with my coaching. And I just think that in my business, and I just think that you're going to have moments. I just had someone come up to me who just hit 5-star. She comes up to me and she's like, you need to talk to one of my coaches. And I said, what's up? And she said, she's fallen rank. She missed Success Club. All these things are happening. And she's like, why is this happening to me? I should quit. Right. And I think that's what happens to some people, because what you'll see is some people hit a goal and then they stop. And you're like, wait, what? That's like my goal. That's my dream to hit that. How could they just quit? It's because they didn't see something beyond it. And so this whole journey of getting to Philly, let's just say, took one workout at a time. It took a setback. It took a boulder. It took a freaking huge mountain to climb. And it took falling down, getting back up. There's that saying where you feel like you're buried, but it's really that you're being planted. And I really like that phase right here. So I'm trying to mom and do this. So just that whole thought where it's like, I think when adversity hits, the number one reaction is like, oh, I should stop. I should quit. This isn't for me. No one wants to do this. I'm doing all the work. I have no working coaches. And I'm like, oh, it's just going to get so good, because what has got you here and who's got you here maybe isn't they aren't the people that's going to take you where you want to go next. Because a lot of people are really uncomfortable about big dreams because they're clinging to mediocrity. And I just think what it takes is to not quit and to see this bigger vision. And I think that there's this whole idea between goals and vision, and I'm really obsessed with this idea, because I think when people are just obsessed with goals, they quit, or they're massively defeated, or their expectations were not met. And I just think when people feel uncomfortable, it's an unmet expectation. But then I just think it's this whole idea of they just had a bigger idea that it would make them happy or something like that. And so anything I've done, I think that goals are important, but I think where I messed up in the beginning is that I made my goals the thing. And what I realized is that Trina, my mentor, she painted this vision for me. And this is what I want to do with you before we get into another section I want to talk about, is what do you want to say yes to in 5 years? What kind of yes life do you want? And it doesn't have to be like, oh yeah, I want this huge mansion that's, wherever. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, what do you want to say yes to? A girl's trip? Was this trip maybe a financial burden, but you knew going to it would help you? I've been there. I've gone on trips before where I'm like, I will not remember the stress that it took on, and elephant on my chest of finances. I'm going to remember how it grew me. I'm going to remember the memories. I'm going to remember how much I love this, right? So what do you want to say yes to? Maybe it's saying yes to any kind of trip, saying yes to anything your kids would want to do that gives them and shapes their experiences in life. I think about that with Faye. I think about, in a couple of years, if she wants to do dance, I don't want to have to pick the free dance classes and that you shop around and just do all free dance classes, right? I want her to go to the best one. If she one day is like, Mom, I want to go to Yosemite, I want to be able to say yes, because that's an experience, right? And that kind of yes takes oh, I don't have a lot of time commitments anywhere else because I can work my business anywhere, right? So I think this whole getting to diamond, it's like, I think what people do is they stay there. Well, how did I not stay there? How did Britt not stay there? We stayed there maybe for a little bit. I was emerald longer than all of you. And I just made a decision and I drew a line in the sand and was like, I'm going all in, but I didn't stay at diamond. And that's how, is that diamond wasn't even my thing. It was the vision of what I could say yes to. And this vision of not even money, but this vision of like, I love this business because it impacts people while making an income, but I just like love the idea of growth. I love the idea of, I was just talking to a friend yesterday, we're walking the streets of Philly and she's like, it's not like my anxiety disappeared with coaching. It's just now I can understand it better. Now I don't, I can catch it so I don't slide so far back anymore. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's so right. I feel like coaching, I'm just addicted to this growth, addicted to the conversation, addicted to this idea of being obsessed with how I can improve versus celebrities. Like back then, before this, I was so obsessed with watching other people's lives, like on Facebook or People magazine. I don't even think magazines are a real thing anymore, but just this idea of obsession. And now I feel like I'm obsessed with chasing my future self. And so that's how I show up in my business when I don't feel like it, when life is hard, when things like legit, you guys, I missed our whole workout today because life went a different way today. And I just had to like roll with the punches. And it's like, okay, like I can come back from that. Like it doesn't have to derail my whole day. But just this idea and vision of my future self of like, how do I need to show up for her? So when people quit, there's returns. I had 3 coaches quit in one day as a new coach. How am I still here? Do you know how defeating that is when you're trying to get those 8 coaches? You're just trying to hit you all know that. So imagine on my way to diamond, I had 3 coaches quit in one day. I could have been like, oh, the next day 3 more are going to quit. Then the next day, right? That's what you think when that one thing happens, that it's just going to keep happening. It doesn't. Those people weren't meant to be here. In fact, one of my diamonds who quit on the day of summit, I'm sure you've heard the story, it's like I can just roll off my tongue and say that, but I need you to know like how hard that was. Trina, she had like 13 diamonds quit in one week when they all left for another company. 13. I'm like, okay, I can recover from one. This one diamond who was at the top of my organization just posted in a Facebook group that she needed a part-time job, something that's flexible with her kid. And I just go, oh my gosh, like you couldn't see the vision. You were at the top, like, oh my gosh, you were doing well. Like, and that was years ago. Like this would have compounded if you just would have stuck it out. But she let outside influence, sometimes these outside influences that are negative, it just seems like they know about this. They've never done it. They're not a part of your team, but it seems like we let them have a voice when we shouldn't give them a vote. Right? We didn't vote on where they went to school. We didn't vote on their occupation. We don't vote on their finances. We don't vote on their health, right? We don't vote on that. So we shouldn't give them the permission to vote on ours. It's just because this is so unconventional. But I just thought about that and how she posted about that in a group. And someone mentioned, they're like, hey, you can clean houses for this much money. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's fine. I'm not putting that occupation down. All I'm saying is that's a flat rate. Like this coaching thing, legitimately, the income is unbeatable. The income is just compounding, right? I just couldn't believe it. It was insane. So how I show up, how I got past diamond, how I kept going is that I thought about my future self. What does Julianne want to say yes to in 5 years from now? You need to show up as her because you're defeated right now. You're in a funk right now, and funk equals frustration, right? Getting stuck, I hear that word a lot, equals frustration. When you're focused on that, everything is frustrating. You get frustrated by a big customer experience, like return or something like that, or shipping costs. Like you start to get frustrated over things that you shouldn't be frustrated over, right? And I never try to go that route. I never blame anyone for not doing anything. I just always take responsibility of how can I get better. I'm never looking at my team going, no one's doing anything. It's just me. If I would have had that mentality, I wouldn't be where I am today. Instead, I was like, what can I do? I can expand my network. I can talk more about the work it takes to do this versus just making it this fluffy, idealistic thing. Because you all know, being at Brits and having this retreat, which by the way, she doesn't have access to that through her downline and her mentors that used to be her mentors and things like that. So she had a vision and she went with it and she executed. By the way, I've never had a diamond retreat myself. So like just looking at this inspires me to do that. And I just think like how cool Britt saw this vision that she wanted for Inspire Beauty, and all of you got to be a part of it. But do you want to know how many people it took to get to this point? Not necessarily numbers, but individuals that had once had a vision and they were excited to build a business and decided not to. But Britt thought, I want to have a diamond retreat. And she thought with that future self of hers. And so she kept on going, and that's how you all are here. If she would have just stayed small and only banked on what it was then, you guys wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be where I am today. And I just think that future self, that's how I did it. And then what do you do from diamond? Where do you go from here? You just go diamond again. Just focus on getting 8 new coaches and helping 2 people go emerald. You can control that. You cannot control whether or not people work the business, but if you keep laying out the vision and you keep, I'm doing a whole presentation today on duplication, and I really think that how my team has compounded in the way that it has is that we highlight slower success stories. We're not all about like, there's like the 5% of people that, how many of you hit Success Club your first month as a coach? I didn't even know what it was, right? I didn't even hit it my second month. I don't even think I hit it. I think I might have hit it my 3rd month. I'm not a success starter. I didn't hit Emerald until a couple months in. Some people hit it way later. Some people hit it the first day. I think there's no pace to this thing. And what I love about this journey is that it's not max. When you go into a restaurant, it says max 250 people, right? That's the maximum capacity. Otherwise, you have to wait 45 minutes or you have to come back again another day. That's not how this business works. This business you can have a seat at the table anytime you want. You just got to make that decision. And so when you start talking about the slower success stories, that starts to inspire people. So I think about Emily Boaz on my team. She's here in Philly and she's been a coach for 3 years and she just became diamond. And she almost quit. She hated the taste of Shakeology for months. And she changed her flavor and then decided to do it. Then she got pregnant and she stopped. And do you want to know what brought her back? Freaking bod renewals. She's like, dang it, my people are still renewing. Like, I can't quit on them. And then she's like, I didn't know where to start because I had taken such time off. And she's like, so I just made a Facebook post. And I was like, that's amazing. You just took action. You did something so simple. That story is going to inspire 75 people today. When I share that slower success story, that I'm going to have Emily stand up and say she's a new diamond and just be like, but she's been in this for over 3 years. Some of you in this room have only been a coach for 5 months. But I think that story makes everyone else think they can do it too. So on Happy and Fit, that's just kind of what we do, where it's like, I didn't start and finish my first program until 2.5 years into the business. I only picked the ones that I liked. The work, like in Sandy Max 30, I did 3 of the workouts. I just rotated them because I didn't want to do cardio, like the full cardio one. And then I didn't want to do sweat on the Thursdays or Wednesdays or whatever that was. So I just did that. And then once I started and completed a program, wouldn't you know, my body transformed. It was 22-minute hardcore. And then I did hammer and chisel. Hammer and chisel changed my body. It was crazy. But the thing is I lost 35 pounds within that time. But once I started and completed a program, it wasn't so much, this is the goal aspect. The goal is I have 35 pounds to lose. Well, you lose the 35 pounds, a lot of people quit, don't they? They lose weight for their wedding and then they stop. So I lost the 35 pounds, but then I had the vision of, I really like having more energy. I sleep well. My anxiety has reduced. I feel really good. I feel a lot more confident. That's the vision. So highlighting these slower success stories encourages people that they can do it too. I do think that Beachbody highlights way too much of quick success stories and like success stories that are not something we'd all want, like sponsoring 500 coaches in 1 month. Like Trina never taught me that. She said, help 2 coaches a month, and that can turn into 30. And it has. When you are really good with helping people, that one coach can help 30 people join their team. And that's always been my philosophy. So that's how I built my business, is 2 PS coaches and Success Club. And then that just compounded over time. And so I just made those metrics my non-negotiable. Anyway, I know we're running short on time. I'm going to end with this, if that's cool. You all are amazing, and thanks for sticking with me, is that in order to go to this vision, you have to think about, and I really want you to brainstorm, like, what do I want to say yes to? Like, what is this? Because that, I'm telling you, probably didn't feel much different hitting diamonds. Like, you were still the same person, right? But it was the journey. And I just think that your vision, there's an incredible journey laid out in front of you that's full of growth and beauty and wonderful things. And I just think that this business is so freaking incredible, because it's not just about the money freedom, the time freedom, the people freedom. It's the freedom to be us, the freedom to be who we actually are. And that's why people would join alongside us. And I think that there's so much freedom to that, because in jobs, people are telling them what they have to wear, what they have to say. You guys, one of my best friends in Milwaukee, she's a phenomenal dean, phenomenal. She just got fired yesterday. They called her into the office, and like, she just called, they just fired me. Julianne, I never got written up. I never got on a plan. They never had any kind of warning. And I said, they're afraid of something, because she knows some things that's going down in the system in there that they don't like, that she knows. And it's the people who fired her that are doing that. And they just fired her. Like, what? Because she's making a stance. And I just love that we have the freedom to be us. And so how you build this vision, how you see through it, I think it's very vital that you know what your roles are in life, because what is going to get in the way of your business is either getting stuck and being frustrated, or it's going to be you're juggling so many things. And I always say, you have to have, this is going to sound like a weird analogy, and stick with me, you have to have the rubber balls in life and then the glass ones. The rubber ones are your 6 main roles. Those 6, those are glass. Because if you drop those shatter. Those 6 glass ones are very important. You make everything else rubber, because they'll bounce up one day, right? So like, for me, that might be like being a volunteer in Faye's classroom one day. That's going to be a rubber one, not a glass one, because that's great. But like, I like have stuff to do. You know what I mean? Like, there's other moms where like, that's the glass, not for me. So my glass is my faith, my glass. So that's role number 1. And then a wife, a mom, right? And then a mentor in business. And it can even be coach, and then friend. Like, those are my main 6 things. And I say yes to those 6 things. Now, other things come up, like, hey, can you do this at church? Can you do this? Can you do this? If you know my husband, he like volunteers all the time, and he knows everyone at church. He's high-fiving Britt, and I'm like, who is that? How do you know that? I just don't have time for that. And I mean, I love to serve, but I serve in this kind of way, if that makes sense. It just looks a little bit different than him. So I want you to write down your 6 roles. This is really important. This is a lesson I've done over the last 5.5 years, and it's going to change. So you can even get super specific, like dog mom, or you can get specific in this postpartum mom. I'm not a middle school mom. I'm a postpartum mom. Like, that's a whole other thing, right? Get really specific with your roles and your priorities. And I hope coaching is on that list. If coaching is not on that list, that's probably a good gut check of like, do I need to put that on the list? And it's not ranked in order. I must say that. That's something that Trina's taught me, is that you just show up present in that role. So if you're on a call like this, I'm being present right here. As soon as I get off this, I'm going to be a present mom. And then once I've done that, I've got to go present. And so I'm going to go present to the coaches that are here, right? So I have to just shut things off and turn them on. Alongside with these roles, I want you to write an adjective that describes them. So for example, I want to be a present wife. Not on my phone when Eric's around. I don't want to just be like frazzled and all over the place. I want to be really present with him. with Faye, I want to be an active mom. I want to be interacting with her. I want to be playing with her. I want to be the kind of parent at the park that's like going on, down the slide with her instead of sitting on the bench on my phone. I want to be an active mom, right? I want to be an intentional friend. Britt knows that this is always a goal of mine, being an intentional friend. And so I know I'm kind of all over the place, and thanks for being with me and sticking with me, but I think I just do better in describing how I do this. So I would be intentional friend, and then 2 goals I have with my friend role. So anytime I think of a friend, that I need to call them right away. That's something I've been doing, or text them. Like if they pop up in my head, I call or text right away. So that's how I can be more of an intentional friend. Another way I can be an intentional friend is send gifts, not the funny ones, the GIFs, and then also like an actual gift from Target or something like that. Get a package, like that kind of thing, if that makes sense. How I can be a present wife is that I can unplug from my phone and keep it in another room. Another way I can be a present wife is my phone does not, why is it always with the phone, right? Isn't that so true? My phone doesn't go next to me to bed. Get an alarm clock. Get the one Brit has. It's like a sunset or something beautiful, like a noise. With mentoring or being a coach, right? How like action taker. I don't know. And so for me, it's like I always have a timer when I'm working my business because life is a little bit crazy right now. And so, okay, I have 10 minutes to expand my network, set the timer, Julianne, and then I expand my network. Because I shut off my newsfeed, I shut off all of my notifications because a distracted coach doesn't get it done. They don't. They think they do. They're just doing a lot of stuff, but I don't have time for that. And I want to build a legacy. I've got stuff to do. And so I'm being intentional with that as well. Okay, Britt, I have a couple more minutes if you want to ask some questions. I hope that this was valuable. If you need expansion on anything, I'm here.
Do you guys have questions right off the bat that you want to ask? You buffer. Learn to buffer with questions while I think of theirs. So can you take us back? I asked you this and you briefly touched over it, but when you were frustrated, first of all, name your biggest frustration that you've ever encountered in your business, the biggest heartbreak, and what did you do to overcome it?
There's a couple. It gets better with time. We get better with time. But there's moments where you're so worried about pushing people. And then I came to this conclusion that the best athletes have the best coaches who push them, right? Like to be better. The best leaders have the best mentors that push them to be better. I remember the first time I ever spoke in front of a group of people, my mentor Trina said I spoke too fast. She was trying to help me get better. And then do you want to know how many people I presented with or like spoke to? And like that tip helped me so much. But my biggest frustrations were when people didn't want to run with me, when I had this huge vision of what this could do and they didn't see it. It's like heartbreaking because you want it not just for you. You want it for them too, and you cannot force people to see things. But I think the best thing to do is just share why you love it and where you're going. And I've had people say, you're changing. You're not the friend that I used to have. And they get so uncomfortable with your growth. But I remember thinking, and that was hard. That was painful because you want to still be friends with these people, but not at the sake of holding yourself back because you're not going to be your authentic self. And that was really hard for me. It was really hard for me when I wanted to go elite for the first year. And there was a time in May and a time in September where I thought my team was all just going to crumble. And it's because I kind of was being a great white shark. That's how I like to do it, is I kind of started to focus on what everyone wasn't doing. And I was getting so defeated and frustrated by that. And I didn't see it. It's almost like I got tricked because I started surrounding myself around people who valued competition and big success numbers. and that's not really my thing. And so they found validation in looking successful and everyone knowing them. Like when you continue to go, like corporate starts to recognize you and things like that. And I started to think like those people. And then I realized that that wasn't me. And so I course corrected and I started focusing on what everyone was doing. And ladies, it was something like they did a workout today, praise be. Like it was like that, like, cause there was not a lot to look at. Like cause everyone was crumbling. And so I was like, they worked out today. They drank their shake today. I'm going to celebrate them. Recognition is your weapon. Recognition is your weapon. Do you want to know who said that? Jamie Fitzpatrick. He's the one who just had a massive heart attack. And I really don't think that he would have survived that if he hadn't done Beachbody. That was a whole lifetime of unhealthy, and he's been healthy these last 3 years. And I really think he survived that because of that. But those were my biggest frustrations, were when my mindset started focusing on the slack and on the scarcity. It never works. When you get your highest paycheck and then you get a negative paycheck, you're going to feel so defeated. But I've always now I know better. Now I know the trends. Now I know October is lower for everybody. Now I know May is difficult month, right? Like I know those things now, being in this so long. But when you're in there, you're just like, what's wrong with me? Why won't anyone do anything? Why won't anyone do this? If you start focusing on that, your brain is looking for the answer. Your brain is just going to say, yeah, you're just not meant for this. Yeah, you're not good. When you start asking yourself better questions, like, how am I an awesome mentor today? Like, why do I love this business so much? When you start asking those types of questions, your brain will find the answer, and there are way better answers than, why is this hard? Why am I stuck? Right? So I just ask better questions for myself.
What do you think of that? So recognition is a weapon. But when do you recognize? Like I feel nervous posting recognitions on my Instagram story. So, but I want to recognize.
Why do you think you feel nervous?
I don't know, because I personally love when I get shouted at. But I don't know if my people, I feel like my people, they love the workouts, but I think they also think it's kind of a joke. So.
Yeah, I feel like there's so I hear what you're saying. You're saying that they think it's a joke, but that's, either way, there's a reason why you're not posting. I'm assuming it's because you're afraid they're going to quit, or they're going to judge you, or they're going to send a nasty message to you. So I hear what you're saying. You're saying that they think it's a joke, but why are you not posting it? It's a feeling that you're getting, not so much what they're saying. And so that's number one, where it's an insecurity you're probably dealing with, which we've all been there, believe me. I'm very, how I've built my business is, I'm a very, what did Trina say the other day? She said, not sporadic. I'm not sporadic. Not last minute. I think of an idea and I just do it. Impulsive. I'm very impulsive. I don't give myself time to think about it, because I think when we give ourselves way too much time to think about it, we give ourselves more objections, more scarcity. So one, I would say, you don't know if that's a fact that they would hate that. And then number two is, as adults, people forget to recognize people. It stops in childhood, and it's so sad. Like, great, you get employee of the month once out of every 25 years. Like, that happens one time in your life and you get one shout out. Like, that sucks. Where I feel like the Beachbody world, it's like we're constantly praising and whatever. So here's my tip. I just have always done it without asking for permission, and I'm very intentional with how I give shout outs. So if it's someone who's doing a workout, I'm not saying the words Beachbody. I'm not even saying the workout. I'm just saying, I am so proud of my girl, Emily. She just worked out for 30 straight days. Like, I freaking love moving with her. I love being healthy with her. And so I'm very specific with how I give shout outs. It's not just like, yay, like, whatever. I did one for a coach who's like not really coaching, but I think she wants to, but she has to get through some things. She got hit SC2 3 months in. That's like a slower success story for people who have never hit a success club point. It's hard when you're like, this person just signed up and they hit SC10. That's defeating your whole team. It's great. You still need to highlight those, but you need to highlight the, like, this person's been a coach for 2 years. They just helped someone with Energize. Like, that's amazing. I just had a coach, Elise. She's been coaching for 5 months and just helped someone with Shakeology, not HD. And I'm so excited about it. And so I'm going to like send her a message and I'm going to do this all, whatever. So with Gail, who got SC2, I just said, like, I wrote, she's a coach, a mom, and a wife. And I put these pictures together in like a story. And I like tagged her in it, and I think she reposted it. And she was not one I asked for permission. I just don't ask for permission. I just do it because I'm the CEO of my business. Anytime, like, we were doing a drawing the other day in a sneak peek, and it was supposed to be on Wednesday or Thursday, and we're traveling. And I was like, oh shoot. And I'm like, I'm the CEO. I can do this, whatever. I'm postponing it. We're going to wait till Monday. And guess what? No one even cared. And if they would have, get on my sneak peek, girl. Like, this is my space. Girlfriend, you recognize people. It feels good. It feels good to be recognized, and it feels good to show other people success stories instead of it just being you. That is what I love about this business, is that it's not just us. We partner with people and we help other people become successful, and there's such grit and grace to that. And I just feel like that might inspire someone else to be like, she helped that. If that person can do it, I can do it. Because you want to know something? If I were just to be joining Beachbody right now, do you want to know who I'd look for to join besides Brittany Frost, of course, is this. Sweet, you're successful. Show me 10 other people you've helped be successful. That's my mentality. Is like, I think so many people join all these like top coaches, and I'm like, show me all the people they've made successful and how they like working with that person. So when you're recognizing people, that's essentially what you're doing, is like, it's not just me. It's not just me. And for new coaches, I'm like, take any coach on this team. They don't have to be your PS coach. So when you guys are all going diamond and star diamond, freaking recognize each other. 1, because it feels good. 2, it makes you closer in friendship. And 3, it builds more credibility. You're building more credibility by doing that. So those are my tips.
That helped a lot.
Oh, good. Recognize the heck out of people. And like, something like Britt and I do is like, we don't just say they're a part of, like, Britt will say sister team. You can say things like that, or just be like, oh my gosh, this is like a coach. Like, you don't have to say on my team, or like, I just feel like when I started my business, I acted like I was a 15-star diamond making $1 million and I made $0. I just was like, it wasn't about what was in my bank account. It was just my vision of like, oh my gosh, like, this is so good. And I think people get so caught in their head where they have to like have results in order to be relatable. No, you're more relatable on your way there. It's not when you lose the 35 pounds, it's every freaking workout you did to lose that 35 pounds. And we get so trapped up in our head with that. And so that's something that I've just done. It's like, maybe I'm not where I want to be, but I'm showing where the heck I'm going. And you can either come with me and enjoy the ride, or don't.
How much more time do you have, Julianne?
A few more minutes, probably.
Anything else, you guys? What's your favorite podcast right now?
Ooh. Favorite podcast? I have so many.
You can throw them all out.
Eric's right here, and Eric's telling me what my favorite podcast is. Ed Milet. Probably Ed Milet. I've been really liking Gary Vaynerchuk lately. He says a lot of F-bombs, but he's very smart. And I also really love Elevation. And sometimes I have this whole thing where it's really important to do personal development. It's really important to do professional development. And so for professional, that's like Gary Vee. And then for personal development, I don't know, I can give you a list, but Ed Milet is for sure up there. A Millionaire Mommy Millionaire. That's a good one. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. My favorite book for leadership is The Power of Positive Leadership. I really loved Everything is Figureoutable. I know you guys read that on your team. The energy bus is so good for this time of year. So good. Because everyone's kind of dragging and preparing for winter. I just really like to be intentional with what it is that I read and soak up in my brain. And sometimes it's good to just shut it off. Sometimes it's good just to sit there in your thoughts, you know?
I love it. I love it. Something to think about, and you're just, I'm so grateful for you.
I love you. I love you so much. I cannot wait to see you. And ladies, have the best time in Dallas. Like, seriously, that is so awesome that you're there. I'm proud of you. You won't remember if you had delayed flights or whatever, missing connections or weather or money. Like, you're not going to remember that. You're going to remember this time with your friends. And that's always what I think. And then how can you use this weekend to help you? Where think of it like this, you're on a fitness retreat, you're on a business retreat, and you're on a friendship retreat. There's many people who don't get to go on vacation with their friends. There's many people who hate their business trips, right? And that's what I love so much about this is like, oh my gosh, like I'm in Philly with my friends, growing for business, for like we're working out. Like it's just unheard of what you're doing. And people forget that. And this is so simple, but sometimes people just want to be a part of the picture. They just, that's how simple it is that they just want friendship. They just want connection, and all the other stuff they'll figure out later. But I think once they get connected, Kim said this is something we always say is like the connected coaches stick in this. It's true. So I'm really proud of you guys for being there. It's a heck of a commitment, but use it. Use this weekend. Don't just be here, soak up all the fun, whatever, and then leave it. No. Use this as momentum of like, I want to have this one day. Or I feel more connected to, I'm so glad I said yes to this because this is where it's led, right? Where it's like when I said yes to it, I just want to be a part of a Zoom. I didn't think I would be in Philly, right? Like hanging out with I just wanted to be a part of a conversation that was forward thinking and inspiring. I just wanted to be part of the conversation. I had no idea that it'd be this. That's what I got for you.
Love it. Love you. Thank you for your time this morning. I know you had to sacrifice that, but get back to your sweet little Miss Faye and Eric.
Love you. All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.